crises don't begin with explosions. They begin with silence, with pressure building out of sight, with one narrow place holding up the weight of the world, until one day it bends and then it breaks. There is a strip of water in the Middle East that almost nobody thinks about, yet every government, every central bank, every energy trader is silently terrified of it, 39 kilometers wide. You could cross it in a small boat, but it carries the wealth of empires. 20% of all global oil, approximately 33% of global LNG, the liquid heartbeat of modern civilization, the Strait of Hormuz, a place where the world's energy breathes, where steel tankers line up like blood cells through an artery, and where one spark, one miscalculation, could send shockwaves through every economy on Earth. If this choke point closes, even for 72 hours, the math changes. Markets freeze, currencies swing, freight stops, and prices erupt. Energy becomes power, and the world remembers something it always tries to forget. We do not run on politics or headlines or hopes. We run on energy. And this artery sits at the center of the most combustible geopolitical rivalry on the planet. Iran and Israel testing limits in a shadow war. The US Navy in constant patrol. China building ties and filling reserves. Russia waiting, because every spike strengthens Moscow's hand. Saudi Arabia and the UAE hedging between superpowers. India expanding naval reach, because energy security is national survival. This is not a region, it is a chessboard, and Hormuz is the king's throat. It doesn't take a full blockade to change the world. A single attack on a tanker, a mine in the water, a drone interception gone wrong. Insurance gets pulled, captains refuse to sail, freight halts, and the price of oil doesn't rise. It leaps. $85 becomes $120, $150, maybe higher. Shipping insurance could spike 3, 4, 5-fold overnight. Global inflation jumps. Bond markets wobble. Central banks choke between saving growth or fighting inflation. Because when energy shakes, everything shakes. Food, fertilizer, metals, manufacturing, defense. The price of running a city, the price of running a server farm, the cost of moving a container, harvesting a field, flying a plane, powering a factory. We forget how fragile the system is until supply reminds us. Every major oil shock in history rewired the world. In 1973, a political embargo turned gas lines into riots and inflation into a global currency reset. In 1979, a revolution in Iran sent oil doubling again and triggered the last great stagflation era. 2019, when tanker sabotage sent insurance costs soaring before most people even noticed. Energy shocks don't just move markets, they move borders, they shift alliances, they create winners and bankrupt nations. And here's the truth, almost nobody wants to say out loud. Hormuz is not really about oil. It is about leverage, bargaining power, survival for regimes, currency, stability for nations, pricing power for producers, and strategic breathing room. For those trying to build a new world order, Iran knows threatening Hormuz moves markets more than closing it ever would. China sees the vulnerability and builds alternative supply routes and alliances. The West postures because if energy becomes weaponized again, monetary dominance gets tested next. This is not speculation. This is the structure of power. So what does smart money do? It doesn't panic when headlines hit. It positions before they do. Energy majors, LNG carriers, defense contractors, maritime insurance, industrial metals, nuclear and grid stability plays, intelligence-driven maritime analytics. Not hype, not fear, but strategy. hard hedges like gold, cash equivalents, and flexible duration for liquidity. Exposure to the future backbone of energy security. Batteries, uranium, renewables with storage, and the platforms managing real-time global risk. Entrepreneurs prepare too, because every supply disruption creates new markets. Logistics resilience, energy backup systems, geospatial intelligence, trade flow verification, naval sensor analytics, energy security infrastructure. Crisis doesn't only destroy, it reallocates. It rewards those positioned before the spark, not after the smoke. And make no mistake, the next oil shock will not announce itself. It will not be gradual. It will happen on a quiet day, in a quiet hour, off a quiet headline. A drone downed, a tanker hit, a satellite jammed, a misread signal in the fog of deterrence. When it happens, markets won't wait. They will move violently, instantly, algorithmically. And by the time the public understands what's happening, the smart capital will already be in motion, because the world does not run on narratives. It runs on energy. And energy still flows through a narrow channel where history is loud, patience is thin, and power never sleeps. Stay alert, stay hedged, stay curious. This is not financial advice. This is geopolitical math, and the bill always comes due. Welcome to GeoMoney TV, where power meets capital, and capital meets consequence.